Are you ready? Are you ready for this? This is this is the moment they all been waiting for. We're gonna talk about the team. Yeah, I know. We're gonna talk about the team. Oh yeah, stare right at the camera. Stare right at the camera. That's so good. Look at that. Aren't you so handsome? Yup. You know what time it is, folks. Another season of Pokemon Draft League. And in this video, I'm going to be going over my draft for ETA Season 7. This is it. This is the team here. You know how this goes. I'm just going to go through, talk about my whole draft, talk about why I picked what I picked, my vision for the draft, why these Pokemon work together, and just my overall thought process for the team. There's no script or anything, so I'm just gonna talk a bunch about each of these Pokemon. So let's hop right into it here. As you know, ETA Season 7 is the first season of ETA with Ubers. And right on the front end of this team, we have Lunala. Now, Lunala is my first pick and my main Uber that I have to lead this team and to build this team around. It's an interesting Uber. Some people might think it's not the best Uber. It has a glaring 4 times weakness to both Dark and Ghost, and that's very scary. Just like, a lot of people will shy away from picking something with 4 times weaknesses. But I think Lunala has the potential to be fantastic. It is an excellent bulky special attacker. 137 HP, 137 special attack, potent Calm Minesweeper, and it can keep itself healthy with Roost, and it gets a ton of coverage moves. On top of its good stab, it's got Moonblast, Ice Beam, Meteor Beam. You know I'm going to run Meteor Beam at some point. So this thing has a ton of setup potential, in my opinion, but even if you don't set up with it, like, it's just a good special attacker, like bulky special attacker. 97 speed isn't bad. So, it can be used to outspeed certain things. Like, it's just a great special attacker on the front end of the team with good bulk. And so that's really the main centerpiece for the team. And so grabbing Lunala, now I know that, I gotta pick pieces that fit around Lunala, right? And like I mentioned, it has 2 glaring 4 times weaknesses, so that's a big problem. 4 times weakness to Ghost and a 4 times weakness to Dark. So I know for a fact that, like, opponents are going to bring Ghost and Dark versus my team, but I think I have good pieces to be able to deal with that. I mean, for one, we have Tinglu. Tinglu is like the quintessential bulky Dark type, so I have Tinglu to switch into all the Ghost and Dark attacks that will threaten Lunala. I have Mega Kangaskhan, which is immune to Ghost, right? Mega Kangaskhan is kind of my partner here. With Lunala, it's immune to Ghost. I also have Zamazenta, a great fighting type and a good Dark resist. So yeah, Zamazenta's there to resist all the Dark. Mega Kangaskhan is there to be immune to all the Ghost. So between all that, I mean, I also have Tapu Fini, which can resist Dark. So I have plenty of things on this team that really help cover up those 4 times weaknesses from Lunala, because I know those attacks are going to come. So the next Pokemon I'll talk about here is Mega Kangaskhan. Let's segue right into it here. Like I said, Mega Kangaskhan is kind of I think it's a great partner for Lunala on the top end of this team. I mean, Lunala is a great bulky special attacker, and I think Mega Kangaskhan is a great bulky physical attacker. They have around the same speed, 97, 100, so they can be both bulky with good natural speed, or I can run them max speed just to outspeed things. 97, 100 isn't terrible speed, so that's great. And just being able to, like, Ghost to normal is just a great offensive pairing. Like, it's hard to resist both Ghost and normal, right? So, like, Lunala and Kangaskhan can hit like anything on the opponent's team, and so that's the main reason why I wanted to pick Mega Kangaskhan. Is I think it's a great partner just synergistically for Lunala, but I mean, in its own right, it's fantastic. With the parental bond, it just hits really hard, and it gives me a few things. It gives me good priority. I've got Fake Out, I've got Sucker Punch. That's super valuable. Coming off a strong 125 base attack. And with parental bond, like all those attacks are basically boosted because they hit twice, right? So that's really good. Um, and another thing I really wanted for this team too is a Wish Passer, which Mega Kangaskhan can function as a Wish Passer, which is great. So like for a while I was looking at some low tier like Wish Passers. Like I looked at Licky Licky, I looked at Blissey, but I was like, you know what, Mega Kangaskhan can also be a Wish Passer. And one of my favorite sets is Wish Protect Seismic Toss, which is really nice with the parental bond because Seismic Toss just hits twice. It does 200 HP every time I go for it, which is like so good. And with its nice natural bulk, 105 HP, 100 defense, 100 special defense, like I can just make this thing super bulky with Wish Protect and just have Seismic Toss there just to deal like a ton of damage without really even investing into my offenses. So, but like even if I don't want to do that, I can run a fully offensive Mega Kangaskhan and it'd be really threatening. So, yeah, I think Mega Kangaskhan is going to be fantastic. Like I haven't really seen it used much at all in singles ever. I know like it used to be one of the best Pokemon in VGC, but yeah, it's interesting for sure. So I'm excited to use it. Let's keep going here. We'll talk about Zamazenta next because I mentioned it before. So just to kind of like round up this core here on the front end, we've got like Ghost, Normal, and Fighting. That kind of offensive trio is like really nice. And Mega Kangaskhan being immune to the Ghost and Zamazenta resisting the Dark, that all complements Lunala, right? And offensively, just like Zamazenta is still really good. It is my fastest Pokemon on my team at base 138, which is very fast, and it's got great offense too with base 130 attack. This thing is just a good fast fighting type. I mean, with good natural bulk and Dauntless Shield, it gets a defense boost too, so I can actually run it defensively pretty easily. And it takes advantage of Body Press really well. It's actually a great setup sweeper with Iron Defense Body Press. So Iron Defense Body Press is just fantastic. So it essentially boosts its attack and its defense like by 2, which makes it really good. So yeah. So I mean, there's not too much else to say really. Like this thing gets decent coverage around the board. And it's just a good fast fighting type and with good natural bulk. And that was really my vision here, was to just kind of round out this offensive trio on the front end. These are like my Ubers. Lunala, Mega Kangaskhan, Zamazenta. And I think they're going to be really good. I've got good speed, 138, and I got some strong priority with Mega Kangaskhan. So like offensively, like this covers most of my bases, and they all have great natural bulk too. These 3 mons. So that's kind of the head of the team. The next Pokemon I want to talk about though is Tapu Fini. So when I was sort of planning around and building this draft, Tapu Fini ended up being one of the centerpieces for it. I've wanted to draft Tapu Fini for a while now, and I've never gotten the chance to, but I finally picked it up here this season. I think Tapu Fini is, the way I see it, a Pokemon that is very good, but it's kind of difficult to use. And what I mean by that is it's really just difficult to build around. It's super versatile in what it can do, but the thing is with Tapu Fini is you get Misty Terrain, and out of the 4 terrains, Misty Terrain is probably the most. It exerts the most control on the battlefield out of all the terrains. It blocks all status conditions, which is really strong. Like, and that affects both your opponent's Pokemon and it can affect your Pokemon, right? So it's really hard to build a good team around Tapu Fini because it means you have to pick Pokemon that don't want to click status moves. There's a lot of like defensive Pokemon that love to click Toxic. There's a lot of Pokemon that like to click Will-O-Wisp, Thunder Wave, Toxic Spikes. You can't do any of that on a team that's built around Tapu Fini. And so that was part of my vision as I started assembling this team is like, okay, like I don't really want to pick Pokemon that want to click Toxic or want to click Will-O-Wisp, knowing that I'm not going to be able to do that a lot of the time when my Misty Terrain is up. And I know I'm going to want to bring Tapu Fini to the majority of battles because it is my bulky water type and my bulky fairy type. Those are two very valuable things to have. And so, but I think we do that pretty well. So like I have bulky Pokemon like Tinglu, like Corviknight, like Zamazenta. Those Pokemon don't even get Toxic. They don't need to click Toxic at all. I have a Fire type in Iron Moth, which does not click Will-O-Wisp. It's just purely offensive. Obviously, some of my Pokemon can status, like Lunala can Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave if it wants to. That's going to be blocked under Misty Terrain. But for the most part, this team really doesn't rely on status at all. And if anything, I have a lot of grounded attackers that it's going to be nice not having to worry about status. Like, for one, like Mega Kangaskhan, Zamazenta, like they don't have to worry about getting Will-O-Wisped as long as Misty Terrain is up. Lunala doesn't have to worry about getting Toxicked as long as Misty Terrain is up. It can just Calm Mind up. So, stuff like that, like Tapu Fini provides a ton of valuable support just with the Misty Terrain. And not to mention, Misty Terrain also halves all dragon type moves. And so I want to pair Tapu Fini with a good dragon type, but I can't pick a dragon type that wants to click dragon moves. There's a lot of dragons that like to click Draco Meteor. But you can't pick a strong special attacking dragon with Tapu Fini because those Draco Meteors are just going to get nerfed. There's no reason for it. So I ended up getting Tyrantrum, which is a lower tier dragon. I considered a couple things. I considered getting like Dragonite, but I settled on Tyrantrum because I feel like it doesn't rely heavily on clicking those dragon moves, but it still gets a ton of coverage with Strong Jaw and Terra and just Rock and Ground. Like it doesn't need to click Dragon Claw or anything like that. And so that was kind of my thought process for picking that. But yeah, I mean, so Tapu Fini like really became a centerpiece for planning and building this team because I have to think like every Pokemon I pick, I have to think about how it interacts with Misty Terrain and if Misty Terrain is going to really nerf it in a way or if like it's fine in Misty Terrain. And so yeah, I think I did a good job with that. But Tapu Fini is super versatile, like outside of just setting up Misty Terrain. Like it is very bulky on both the physical and special side. Like I can make it very defensive either way. And it gets like good supporting options. I mean, obviously it can't status, but just like being able to like taunt is very nice. It's a very nice Calm Mind sweeper too. It gets Calm Mind, Draining Kiss. Can be a very potent Calm Mind sweeper, just like Lunala. So I have multiple options for like a nice potent Calm Mind sweeper between Lunala, Tapu Fini, which I really like. I mean, it can even be a decent Scarfer. 85 isn't terrible. 95 special attack. A lot of people have run Choice Scarf Tapu Fini with Trick, which is very nice. Nature's Madness is just great too for like getting chip on stuff. So yeah, I mean, overall, I'm excited to use Tapu Fini. I'm really excited to use Tapu Fini. I think I drafted a good team around it, and I think that's half the battle with using Tapu Fini effectively, is getting Pokemon that synergize with it, so I think I did that. And yeah, I'm really excited to make the most of it. So yeah, the next Pokemon I'll talk about is Ting-Lu. Like I mentioned before, I needed a bulky dark type that can switch into Lunala's four times weaknesses, and I think Ting-Lu is like the quintessential bulky dark type. There aren't really that many other bulky dark types that really compete. Maybe like Mandibuzz, but there's just not that many. Ting-Lu is incredibly bulky. 155 HP is massive. 125 defense, 80 special defense, but its ability Vessel of Ruin weakens special attacking stat. So that special defense is effectively a little bit higher. Um, so Ting-Lu just it makes it a great wall on both the physical and special side because of that Vessel of Ruin effectively boosting its special defense to be like over 100. So I mean, yeah. So Ting-Lu, it sets up a ton of hazards. It's gonna be my hazard setter for the team. Um, as I'm building this team, I'm envisioning it being a bulky balance, bulky offense. So I have a very flushed out defensive core between Ting-Lu, Corviknight, Tapu Fini, Zamazenta, bulky stuff like Kangaskhan, Lunala. These are all Pokemon that can switch around between each other, take lots of hits, and so being able to set up those hazards is very nice. Ruination, similar to Tapu Fini's Nature Madness, is just great for getting that chip on anything. Like just having the HP stat is super nice on a defensive Pokemon like this. And yeah, there really isn't too much else to say. 110 attack is also very usable too. Like I definitely can run offensive Ting-Lu if I want to. With 110 attack, it gets enough physical attacks for me to use it effectively, and that can definitely catch people off guard too, because I have enough, defensive support throughout the rest of my team, right? Like I have Dark Resists and Tapu Fini, I have Ghost Resists and Mega Kangaskhan. So if I want to run like especially defensive Mega Kangaskhan and a physically offensive Ting-Lu for whatever reason, I can do that. So that's really good. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for Ting-Lu. Um, and then the defensive core really ties itself up with Corviknight. Um, having a bulky steel type to go along with Tapu Fini was nice. Tapu Fini and Corviknight share that electric weakness, but Ting-Lu covers it up very well. And yeah, I mean Corviknight is just a great bulky pivot for the team. It can take like the theme with a lot of these defensive Pokemon is they can be both physical and specially defensive, which is nice. It gives me a lot of flexibility with how I want to EV it, and just being able to switch in and U-turn out and give me that momentum is very nice to bring in stuff like the Iron Moth and the Lunala and the Kangaskhan. A lot of people run pressure on Corviknight, but I think Mirror Armor is a very undervalued ability too. Like I think Mirror Armor is fantastic if Pokemon have like Intimidate or just attacks that drop stats. Mirror Armor can be very nice. Just if you know those are coming, just to bounce those stat drops back. I think that's pretty valuable. Corviknight also gives me good hazard control with Defog. Corviknight is an excellent defogger. So is Tapu Fini, but Tapu Fini's defog does remove its terrain. I got to keep that in mind, right? But Corviknight, being a great defogger, so I have good hazard control between Ting-Lu setting them up, Corviknight removing them. Very important for my sort of bulky balance playstyle that I'm going for here. And yeah, I think Corviknight's going to be really good. I think I've used it once before, a while ago in draft when it was like early on when it was first released, and I liked it. I can't really remember too much otherwise. It's not the most versatile Pokemon, but it's just kind of good at what it does. It does have some setup potential with bulk up, but that can be harder to pull off. But it's certainly an option, right? A lot of my bulky Pokemon here, like Tapu Fini, Corviknight, they have the option to set up to Zamazenta. Even Mega Kangaskhan can set up with Power Up Punch. Is Power Up Punch is effectively a free Swords Dance. I didn't mention that. So yeah, a lot of my bulky Pokemon can just set up if I want them to. Gives me a lot of options for setup sweepers too, so that's nice. Um, so that really rounds out my defensive core. I'm gonna transition into talking about Iron Moth now because I have a lot of bulk on this team, but I need some offense, and that's Iron Moth. Iron Moth gives me a fire type, and it also gives me a grounded poison type, which is nice. Those are two types that I didn't have. And sort of to go along with Lunala, Iron Moth is just a very strong special attacker. But the coverage that Iron Moth brings is very different than the coverage that Lunala brings, for example. So, like Iron Moth, obviously Fire, Poison, Stab is very good. It also gets coverage like Dazzling Gleam, Thunderbolt, Energy Ball. That's a lot of very good coverage options for Iron Moth, and there really isn't too much versatility with Iron Moth either. I haven't used it before, but from what I understand, like it doesn't seem like a very versatile Pokemon. It's really just a Mon that is gonna come in and just it's a threat to clean up with its special moves, and it's very hard to switch into because of its array of coverage options, right? And Lunala has a very different palette of coverage moves. So the combination of Lunala plus Iron Moth is very hard for to design a special wall for, right? There really isn't a special wall that can really take on both Lunala and Iron Moth unless its name is like Blissey. Just because of the array of coverage that's like split amongst all of them. So yeah, and it gives me 110 base speed. Also gives me a very nice speed tier too, which is very much needed for this team. I think Iron Moth can be an excellent choice scarfer. Just an option to come in and get a revenge kill when I need it. So yeah, I mean, for as an offensive piece, it's very valuable for this team. Moving down here, I mentioned Tyrantrum before, but let's talk about Tyrantrum again. Yeah, it's a lower tier dragon. So now that we're getting down to the lower tiers here, these Pokemon aren't gonna come nearly every week, but they might come a handful of times, and so I need to draft lower tiers that can have value when they come off the bench. So Tyrantrum is a dragon type that can be used as a nice wall breaker / setup sweeper when I need it in the right matchups. So it also is Terra Ground, is that my Terra type of choice for Tyrantrum. So the two main setup options that I see for this are Dragon Dance and Scale Shot. Dragon Dance being the main one, I think. 71 base speed isn't horrible, but with a Dragon Dance, like I can outspeed a lot of things naturally that aren't boosted, so that can be really good. I guess Rock Polish is an option too, to double that speed. Obviously, you have Rock Head as an ability that can be used with Head Smash, so that gives me sort of a wall breaking option. Like Head Smash is a nuke, and maybe a choice band Head Smash is a wall breaking option. It also has Strong Jaw. Strong Jaw really boosts my coverage moves. It makes like Ice Fang and Fire Fang like really strong coverage options actually. So Tyrantrum actually gets really good coverage because of that Strong Jaw. Not to mention Crunch too is very strong with Strong Jaw. So yeah, as like a sweeper, like it has those really good coverage options, whether it be Dragon Dance, Rock Polish, or Scale Shot. I think Scale Shot is also a cool set that I can run. I can run Loaded Dice, Scale Shot with Rock Blast, and Terra Ground. Obviously, Rock and Ground is like the perfect combination, right? Terra Ground, Earthquake. So Tyrantrum has a lot of tools that make it hard to switch into, and so I just have to find the right matchups to bring those Tyrantrum sets and let them put in work. I'm really excited to use it. I think it's like one of the coolest dragon types design wise, and I haven't really like seen a lot of people use it to much success, let alone draft it. I don't see a lot of people draft this mon, and I don't see like many people use it to success. So I'm excited to try to use something new and try to make it work. Okay, let's talk about Serena. Serena's an interesting one. It's nice utility for my team. It does a couple things. It sort of rounds out my defensive core, giving me a bulky grass type. It has enough defense and special defense that it's usable as a defensive mon. And having that bulky grass is nice. It gives me another electric resist and ground resist. Just some good resistances for the team. Just to help kind of round out that core. It also gives me a rapid spinner, which is another form of hazard control, which can be nice if Tinglu is also hazard stacking. And not to mention, like, Serena is also just a good physical attacker in its own right. It gets good coverage options between triple axle and close combat. I can't remember if it gets close combat or just high jump kick. I know it gets high jump kick, but it gets high jump kick. It gets triple axle, and so obviously power whip. So it's knockoff to a knockoff and U-turn. So it's another good bulky pivot for the team, sort of alongside Corviknight. So yeah, I mean that's really it for Serena. It's just a nice utility mon that can help round out my team in certain matchups and just provide either that pivoting option, either that defensive piece to round out the core to switch into a mon that I need it to, or just it can be a good physical attacker that can be hard to switch into versus the right team. We're running Terra Water on Serena. It will cancel out our fire and ice weakness when we Terra Water, so it can be very nice situationally too, making Serena very hard to take down. It also gets its own recovery with Synthesis too, which is very nice. It's just another good Pokemon, I think, in Misty Terrain that doesn't have to worry about Will-O-Wisp or Toxic or anything like that. Like, it can just sit in Misty Terrain and keep itself healthy with Synthesis and just fire off attacks and U-turn out and give me momentum. So I think Serena will be nice for this team. And let's head down towards the bottom here. We have Palmot. Palmot is here as my electric type. We're running Terra Electric as our Terra type here on Palmot. Just give me a fast electric type. I wanted an electric type for the team. I wanted a little bit more speed. I think Palmot can function as an excellent choice scarfer. 105 speed is not bad. And with a choice scarf, it can outspeed things. And so I think that's going to be really good. Terra Electric lets me spam Double Shock, which is going to be very strong. Palmot also gets a nice array of coverage options. Obviously, close combat stab is really good. Ice Punch, and that's really all you need is Double Shock, close combat, Ice Punch. So that's already all you need for coverage. You can't switch into those three moves, right? Palmot gets a lot of utility too. I mean, I want to mention it has 3 really good abilities between Volt Absorb, Natural Cure, and Iron Fist. Natural Cure is a little irrelevant because we also have Misty Terrain support, but Volt Absorb gives me that immunity to electric moves to go along with Tinglu. Again, helps cover up some of the electric weaknesses we have in our defensive core, which is nice. Iron Fist boosts some of those punching moves, like Ice Punch is one of the best coverage moves on Palmot because it lets him hit the ground types and the grass types, and so Ice Punch is boosted by Iron Fist, which is nice. Not to mention, Palmot, of course, gets Revival Blessing, which can be very good. Revival Blessing is very much legal in this league, so it can be very nice for me to Revival Blessing anything on this team, really. So yeah, I'm excited to use Palmot. I think, like, in terms of just, your typical fast electric type, Palmot is one of the best out there. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it has all the coverage it needs. It hits hard enough at base 115, and the utility that it provides too with Revival Blessing can be really good. So yeah, that's Palmot. And now that we're kind of in the bottom tiers, I'm trying to get things that, I can bring in the right matchups that give me value. It's hard to get high value stuff at the bottom tier, but I'm taking Driftblim down here as my low tier. I think Driftblim can have a lot of merit in an Uber's format where, a lot of very strong Pokemon are legal. Just because it has some kind of niche sets that it can run that can be very annoying to opponents when they're not prepped for. I can run Misty Seed Unburden for one thing. I think that's the obvious one. Tapu Fini's Misty Terrain allows me to run Misty Seed Unburden. And after the Unburden, doubling Driftblim's speed, makes it so much faster than everything, and it's just really strong. So we have Terra Flying and Terra Fighting. I can run Terra Flying Acrobatics, which can hit pretty hard after the Misty Seed is gone. And I can just spam that, which is really strong. And also Terra Fighting is great because the combination of Ghost Fighting and Flying Fighting is just very strong. So those are really good pairings. So Fighting is like the perfect coverage option for Driftblim. I can run Terra Blast Fighting to go along with it, and it's strong enough to where it can clean up late game if things are weak, things have chip damage. It's also reasonably bulky with 150 base HP. That's super thick, and if it gets a special defense boost from a Misty Seed, its special defense stat goes from bad to alright, and it's bulky enough on the special side to take hits. Not to mention that Driftblim can keep itself healthy with Strength Sap. So Strength Sap is the most broken healing move in the game, and Driftblim can spam it and just keep itself healthy, which is very nice. There's just a ton of things that Driftblim can do. I think I can even use the Flare Boost set to success with a Flame Orb and Terra Blast Fighting. It just great coverage and strong special attack and just start chipping stuff. There's a lot of cheeky things that I think Driftblim can do, and I'm excited to try to bring it some weeks and get it to put in some work. So the last Pokemon on my team is Volibee. I had 1 point left, and with only 1 point, it's really hard to get something valuable for your team, but I think Volibee has a lot of merit in picking. It's a good defensive low tier. As a bottom tier, it can Terra into any type. And with the Eviolite, its defenses are actually pretty high. These defenses are boosted 1.5 times, so it actually makes it pretty defensively bulky on either the physical or special side. So I know my team is already pretty bulky, but I just want to close it up, and I think Volibee closes it up perfectly because any matchup I find myself in where there's something I struggle to switch into, I can bring Volibee, and Volibee can Terra into any one type that can switch into said threat, whatever it may be, and it can switch in and pivot around it. And Volibee has a lot of defensive tools. It has all of the defensive tools that Mandibuzz has. So it can U-turn for momentum, which is like one of the best things, right? Slow, base 60 speed, momentum into whatever. It can roost to keep itself healthy. It can defog too. It's also another defogger, which is nice. It also can put pressure on with foul play, which can be nice, right? Like, just foul play lets it hit hard, potentially, using the opponent's attack stat. So, don't know if I'm going to bring it, but if I feel like I need the right defensive piece, I think I can slot Volibee in and to whatever it may be. And slotting in a defensive Volibee could allow a more offensive Tapu Fini set, or a more offensive Ting Lu set, or a setup Corviknight set to do its thing. So it just gives me a good option. For 1 point, I think that's great here. But that's it. I mean, that's pretty much the team. I hope I didn't ramble on for too long here, and I hope everything I said is making sense. Most of this team is stuff that like I've never drafted before, and I'm excited to use. I mean, I'm always trying to pick things that I've never used before because I just like using different mons and gaining experience using stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here that like I'm excited to utilize and make do work, like Tyrantrum, Driftblim, Palmot. Some of the offenses like Tapu Fini, super excited to use. Mega Kangaskhan, Zamazenta, Iron Moth. Like, I'm really excited to let this team shine. I think out of most of the teams in the tier list, there's a lot of really offensive teams that got drafted. My team is a lot more balanced and has some very distributed bulk. So I'm going for a lot slower of a playstyle this season, which a lot of people a lot of people might argue that it isn't going to work in an Uber's format, because Uber's formats have very strong Pokemon in them, but I kind of beg to differ. I think it will work because the thing with draft format is it's not like ladder, like playing on the ladder. What works playing on the ladder doesn't always work in draft format, and the reason why certain things are good in draft format is because they're unpredictable and they're versatile. And so a lot of things on this team, I think, just have that versatility to where you don't know how to prep for everything that I have, and what they're gonna do. And I think that's kind of the name of the game here. So yeah, I think my team's gonna do well. I will catch you all later once I start uploading battles. I hope you all enjoy this video. Yeah, take care and goodbye.